Well, all right, welcome back to As It Should Be. Paul Bertolino here in the world famous As It Should Be studios. Yeah, and well, it's actually time again for a recent record roundup video. I did one not that long ago. I guess about however long ago. Was it a month or two ago? I feel like it wasn't that long ago. Usually I haven't really done them too close together, but I've actually acquired a significant number of records recently and figured, well, you know, it is time. The time has come. And yeah, so basically, yeah, this video I'm just going to show you all the recent records that I've acquired and, you know, a good and proper vinyl community video, really. I mean, I don't really do that many videos that are really, really well and truly, like, proper vinyl community videos. Because a good vinyl community video is really mostly all about showing you vinyl albums, right? And discussing them. And I do that, but I don't do that as much as I should to really, honestly, I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm babbling. So why don't I just show you my records, huh? All right, so first off, I'm going to show you an album that I just purchased today. Yeah, just today. That can't be more, it's as up to the minute as I can possibly get. Bought this record today. The first Cheap Trick album. Yes, I've long since already had this album. In fact, I have another copy here that I've probably shown on previous videos. But as you can see here, it's a promo. It is a white label promo. Yeah, and anybody who watches this channel knows that I like white label promos. And it's in excellent condition. Yeah, I really didn't need... This is probably like the fourth damn copy of this record that I have now, but I couldn't. I couldn't pass this up. Let's just hope I don't run into one with Shrink and Hype sticker, then that'll be number 5. But yeah, I bought this today at a record store here in Brooklyn, and I have to say that, you know, okay, now, to all you record stores out there, particularly the ones here in New York, who have listening booths, not booths, they're stations, you know, just turntables with headphones and maybe a little, you know, thing there that you plug into that has whatever. Now, a lot of them have really subpar equipment. They may have really nice turntables or whatever, but they'll be really, really crappy headphones or whatever type of receiver situation they have going on is really, really subpar, and they sound really crappy. Now, this does not help you sell a record. How many times have I gone to one of these and put on headphones and listened to the record and thought, this record sounds awful, this sounds like crap. And either almost didn't buy it or just straight up didn't buy it because I thought this record sounds like crap. Well, this place that I went to today, I'm not going to name any names, but they have 2 stations. The one on the right sounds like crap, garbage. The one on the left sounds great. Today I took this record, got to the one on the right, and I'm listening to it and I'm going, oh, yeah, no wonder nobody's bought this yet, because on the price sticker I could see that it had been here at the store since like May. Nobody's bought this since May. Oh, that's why it sounds like garbage. Yeah, obviously it's a promo, but obviously it got played a lot and it's really worn out. Yeah, I'm probably not going to buy this. But I also knew, you know, from being at that store before, oh yeah, the other station is way better, sounds better. So I waited for it to open up and I switched over, put on my headphones, put the needle on, boom, oh shit, oh yeah, this sounds excellent, this sounds great, boy am I buying this. Little suggestion to all you used record stores that have listening stations, put your best foot forward there. Get some decent equipment. Have good headphones. They don't have to be top of the line. Just something that doesn't sound like garbage, because that's really going to make a difference. Sometimes people want to listen to hear a record that they haven't heard at all and see if maybe they like it. But sometimes you listen because you want to make sure it doesn't sound like shit. And like it helps you to sell your records, people. Get good equipment for this stuff. Anyway, I digress. My favorite Cheap Trick album, the first album, white label promo. Yay. All right, so up next is another record that I actually got pretty recently, and it's another one that I long since already had a copy of, but I was kind of in need of a newer copy. I've been in the market for a newer, better kind of upgrade copy of this, and that is British Steel by Judas Priest. Yeah. Their classic 1980 album. One of my favorites. Spoiler alert in case I ever do an album ranking, and I probably will. But the reason why I bought this, I mean, I was recently in the world famous As It Should Be archives, and I was poking through my Judas Priest albums, and I actually was specifically looking for this album, and it was there. But all that was there was the copy that I bought back in the day, in the 80s. And it wasn't in the best condition. I used to do, I was very young then, and I used to do stupid things to my records. On that copy, you see here on the back cover, they had this image where the blade is slicing open the cover, right? Well, I must have been bored one day, and I actually sliced the cover itself. And so this whole little space right here is actually cut away on my original old copy that I've had. And I thought that I would have, bought another copy. I thought I probably had another one that was better. I don't. All I have is that old one that I did really stupid, needlessly destructive things to. So I thought, well, I better bite the bullet and buy another one. So I just bought this recently. I bought this at another store here in Brooklyn, and it's in beautiful condition. No ring wear. Really, 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 really great copy. It a little pricier than what I would like to spend on a British Steel album, especially considering how far I go back with this record. But it was worth it. I wanted this not only to have, a better copy than the one I've had for all these years, but also, want to have a nice good one for any future videos that might come up. I do have maybe a track versus track or something that's maybe going to feature this album. I don't know. Maybe. We'll see. British Steel, Judas Priest, fantastic album. All right, so up next is yet another album that I definitely have long since had at least one copy of. In fact, I'm pretty sure I have a good couple of copies, a mono and a stereo, if I'm not mistaken. But, I couldn't resist this one. Out of Our Heads by the Rolling Stones. Yeah, it's a mono copy of it, but see, as you can see, it's in shrink, and even has a little bit of the store price sticker on it. Yeah, I got this because, the copies that I have are decent or, pretty good. Nothing spectacular, not particularly bad, average. This one, pretty good in shrink and everything, and incredibly, it was only $8. Yeah, I kind of was like, okay, $8? This is one of those classics. I've talked about this before. One of those classic moments that I experience now and again where I'm like, okay, that's pretty cheap. Certainly another shoe is about to drop, so I took it over to the listening station. Perfectly fine, like a perfectly fine copy, beautiful in shrink. I thought, well, you know what? Boom. Sold. Rolling Stones, Out of Our Heads. Okay, next up, yet another album that I've already long since had more than one copy of. I know that there are two copies. I already have two copies of this in the world famous As It Should Be archives. But see, those two copies are both actual OG pressings with the original mix. But this one, Iggy and the Stooges with Raw Power. Yeah. This is one of those reissues from about, roughly 10 years ago, where it's a double album. Record 1 is the original Bowie mix, and record 2 is the Iggy mix from the 90s. And I love the Iggy mix from the 90s, and I've always wanted to have that on vinyl. In fact, I've been intending to buy this since it came out. It's one of those new release albums or reissues that slips through the cracks that I just never got around to buying. Well, I recently ran into a used one, and I picked it up. It has the booklet in it, the whole thing. And, so couldn't resist this. And it, fairly inexpensive, all things considered. And, so now I have the 1997 Iggy mix on vinyl. All right, up next, if you can believe it, you'll be shocked, you'll be stunned. An album that I didn't already have. I've never had a copy of this ever in my life. Been kind of intending to pick this up, and fortunately, it's a very affordable record. I got this for $2, and honestly, you probably can often find it ballpark that price. but that isn't because it isn't a good album. Ian Gom, Gone with the Wind. Ian Gom, yeah, from Brinsley Schwartz. I've been wanting to get this album for quite a while because, of course, it has that great hit, Hold On, which I believe is on my 1979 Singles of the Year list. If you go back to our Singles of the Year series, I'm pretty sure this song, the opening track, the big single from this album, made that list. But this is my first time actually owning the album. Yeah, Hold On. I still haven't really gotten familiar with it. I got it very recently, but like I said, it was cheap. Finally have one, and yeah, what can I say? Ian Gom. Okay, well, let's continue with this new trend I'm starting right now of albums that I didn't already have. Yeah, believe it or not, I have never had a copy of this album. This is the first copy of this album I have ever owned, and it's a damn shame because it's a great record, and yeah, I should have gotten it a long time ago, but I have it now. Keith Richards, Talk Is Cheap. Yeah, such a great record. Spoiler alert for anybody who goes back. I don't know what year this is. Whatever year this album is, I'm forgetting off the top of my head. 80 something. That year, this is on my list, and for good reason, because this is such a great record. I'm going to say it's 87, probably 87. Yeah. I was shocked by this record, because, I mean, the thing is that Mick started putting out solo albums before Keith did, and, well, yeah, I got news for you guys. Mick Jagger's solo albums suck ass, but you knew that. Keith Richards, not so much. Yeah, this is, I kind of equate this, and I think I said this in the video where I had this on my list. I equate this with like the Ace Frehley 78 solo album, where it's like suddenly he comes out with his first solo album, it's like, oh damn, all this great material and just fresh, and firing on all cylinders. It's kind of a really great Stones album with Keith on vocals, but there's also some like really great kind of soulful R&B, almost kind of funky stuff. Really, really strong record. If you haven't listened to it, I so recommend it. But if you're a Stones fan, you got this album a long time ago, long before I did. And, well, yeah, Keith Richards' Talk Is Cheap. And this record was kind of cheap, so luckily. All right, so up next is another one of those albums that I've long since had in my collection. It's a band that I really love. Not one of my favorite albums of theirs. In fact, probably one of my least favorite albums of theirs. It's a perfectly okay record, but I'm not really that into it. But I bought and this copy isn't really in particularly good condition. In fact, it's probably in way worse condition than either of the copies that I already have. Well, I bought this for a special reason. Well, let me get into it. This is Going to Memphis by Paul Revere and the Raiders. Now, you're looking at that and you're going, well, yeah, of course you bought it because it's a promo. No, that is not why I bought it. But, yeah, and it's really not in very good condition. It's a well-worn promo. I mean, this thing definitely saw some action. It belonged to a radio station, which brings us to why I bought this. I bought this record because it's signed on the back by the great Larry Lujack. Yes. Yeah, Larry Lujack, he, if you grew up in Chicago in the 60s, 70s, and 80s, if you were in Chicago in the 60s, 70s, and 80s, then you know Larry Lujack. He was the king of the city as far as radio is concerned. Like, he owned that place. Like, he was the greatest. In my opinion, Larry Lujack is the greatest radio DJ who ever lived. Now, some people might be going, I didn't know you were from Chicago. You're from Chicago? No, I'm not from Chicago. I have been to Chicago twice. And that's been, like on tour. So, you come to town, you do a sound check, go out and hang out and see things around the area of the venue you're at, and then do the show, and then you leave. That's what I've done in Chicago a couple of times. So I have not spent any significant amount of time in Chicago, and again, I'm definitely not even remotely from there. The reason why I know who Larry Lujack is because of Air Checks. air checks. Most notably, there's a website called Real Radio, REEL radio.com, that has a gazillion radio air checks, but you can find them on YouTube, you can find them in Mixcloud, you can find them all over the place. And because of because of air checks and the fact that I've been an air check junkie for a long time now, I know most of the DJs that have existed in the U.S. through the 60s, 70s, and 80s across the nation, from the West Coast to the East. And there's so many great ones. There's Cousin Brucey and Dan Ingram, and there's Dr. Don Rose and the real Don Steele, and so many people. But by far the best, as far as I'm concerned, by far the best is Larry Lujack. And unfortunately, Larry Lujack is no longer with us. He died, in fact, just about exactly 10 years ago. He died in December 2013. December 18th, 2013. And just recently I found this. I think this was on Etsy or something. I actually was doing a Google search for Larry Lujack, and I ran across this. Somebody was selling this for $10 on Etsy, and I'm like, yeah, a Larry Lujack autograph on a record that I don't like that much, that's in terrible shape, that I already have 2 copies of. I'm in. Yeah. So anybody who is from Chicago, sound off in the comments. I know Mike from Hub Tunes, Richard from Calvin Wanzoo, 2 of the great Gunkles. You guys are Chicago guys. You probably know just what I'm talking about. You know you're Larry Lujack. Super Jock, Larry Lujack. Yeah, you know. And certainly if you're from Chicago, then you know these. If you were in Chicago in the 70s. The Super CFL surveys, right? Yeah. Right? Okay. Yeah. If you know, you know. Animal stories. The clunk letter of the day. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Right? Okay. So there you go. Okay, so next up is an album that I already had a copy of. That the one I already have is in perfectly good condition. This one is not really an upgrade. It's not significantly better than the one I already have, but it was only $2. So for some reason, I had to buy it for $2 because I really like this record. Leslie Gore with Girl Talk. Yeah, Leslie Gore. You know what? If you haven't listened to if you like good 60s pop and you haven't listened to Leslie Gore albums, check them out. Leslie Gore has great albums. These albums are not filled with, filler and pointless covers. Like these are really good, well-made pop albums. She's a great singer. I really recommend this stuff. But yeah, I actually really didn't need to buy this. I just, it's a sickness, people. All right, up next is an album that I didn't already have, and this is an album I've been wanting to get for a while, but it's just always way more than I want to spend on it. A lot of records are like that these days, but this one in particular, I'm like, yeah, I wish I could have gotten this back in the day when it would have been $2, but now it's usually a lot more. But recently I found one that was very affordable and in great condition, so I went, snap. Got it. And that is New Harvest First Gathering by Dolly Parton. Yeah. My Dolly Parton collection is... I don't have that many Dolly albums. I have a few. I have a handful of them. She has a ton of records, and I have maybe 5 or so, roughly. But this is now added to my collection. And yeah, it's really... Yeah, especially for the price I paid, this is a really pretty good copy of this. The inner sleeve. Yeah. Yeah, so I think this is the one right before her sort of crossover album, Here You Come Again. I believe so, right? Right, Craig? Craig would know. Yeah, so this is like 77, I think. But yeah, I really lucked out with this, and glad to finally have one, and glad I didn't have to pay an arm and a leg for it. Dolly! All right, so this next one is a very recent release. And there's no way I wasn't going to buy this. The Beatles, Now and Then. Yeah, the 12-inch single. Yeah, with the new mix of Love Me Do on the B-side. Unopened because I don't know. I don't know if I necessarily need to open it because I like the song, but I'm not really ever going to pull out the 12-inch and put it on the turntable and listen to it. But as a huge Beatles geek, had to have this, and this is the black. Obviously, of course, they had 50 different, the blue vinyl, the purple vinyl, the green, the swirly vinyl, the this, the that vinyl. I just got a black one because that's how a good and proper vinyl record should be, black, right? Like your Sabbath, your vinyl should be black. Yeah, anyway, so yeah, I had to get one of these. So last up, I have 3 albums that kind of go together in a way. In terms of how I acquired them and from where I acquired them. First up, another Beatles-related record, and that is a record that I actually bought on CD when it came out. This is my very, very first vinyl copy of this. I actually never bought this on vinyl until now, and that is Chaos and Creation in the Backyard by Paul McCartney. Yeah, this is a 2018 reissue of this that I just got. Now, I got this and my next couple of albums on the website Sound of Vinyl. And I have to say shout out to Mike from HubTunes because he's the one who turned me on to the Sound of Vinyl through one of his videos, because he did a video like this where he was showing recent vinyl acquisitions. And he had just, I guess every year they have, in December around this time, I guess, they have a major sale where you can get stuff dirt cheap or whatever. And he had just purchased for a mere $8 Paul McCartney's new album. And at the time, I didn't have that on vinyl either, so I went, oh shit, and I went straight to Sound of Vinyl, and I was able to get one really cheap as well, so I have that. But as a result, I'm on their mailing list. So recently I got an email from them saying, all right, here's our big blowout sale or whatever. Get any one of these albums for free. Just pay shipping. And I'm going, oh, come on. Okay, what do I have to sign up for where I have to give, where there's some other shoe that's going to drop. Clearly I have to sign up for some thing where I may not be paying for this record, but I have to give you money in some other capacity. Come on, really? Went to the website, looked it up, went through, and it's like, oh, no, really. Free. $0. You just pay for shipping. So I bought this and the 2022 half speed mastering at Abbey Road copies of the first 2 Who albums. Yeah, I mean, shipping was $10 each, I think, right? Basically, I got these for $10 each in the end. So I got these free records for $10 each. But yeah, that's because I had to pay for shipping. But yeah, for $10 a pop. Yeah, sold. And, of course I long since have these albums. Well, I long since have, a couple of US My Generations and 1 or 2 UK My Generation reissues. I don't have an OG of this. But I've never had a UK, a quick one on vinyl. I have US Happy Jack copies on vinyl, but I've never had a quick one, a proper UK a quick one. It's, again, this is all I have. I don't have an original of this. It's a reissue, but yeah, I mean, for $10, brand new, yeah, absolutely. So I don't know if that's still going on. Go to the Sound of Vinyl. You might be able to get some too. $10, and there are many other things up there. There are a number of really good titles, like great titles up there, for nothing. Literally. So go check that out. And yeah, so there you go. That's all the recent stuff I've picked up. This is kind of a lot for me in the amount of time that it's been since I last did one of these videos, because really I don't buy vinyl, records at the rate that I once did. I shop in vinyl. I go to record stores frequently, and I flip through records frequently, but actually purchasing stuff, not that much anymore. So this is kind of a bit of a haul for recent times, but yeah, but because of that, I thought it was time to do another video, and yeah, there you go. thank you everybody for watching this, and thank you everybody who watches all the videos and who's subscribed. And I'm gonna go through my subscribe diatribe now, so beware. If you haven't subscribed, subscribe, and if you do subscribe, click the little bell, because notifications and all that kind of stuff. And but most important of all, come back on Thursday, because Crystal Durant and Tommy Von Voort are going to be here, and we are going to continue our Albums of the Year series. And this week we are going to be discussing our favorite albums of 1993. Yeah. So yeah, we're well into the 90s now, and who knows where it's going to go. Anyway, well, thank you everybody, and we will see you soon. Okay. I get too much adrenaline when I do these videos, and I start acting like, and I start like, blah, blah, blah. And it's just like, I normally am more of a calm speaker, and in these videos I get performer's adrenaline, and I start, I start acting like I'm fucking like out of my mind on coke or something, and I'm not. I'm perfectly in my mind on coke, all right?